I the a-hole for making my daughter-in-law cry? My son and daughter-in-law had their twins last year. They didn't want to put them in daycare and asked me if I could watch them. I've been doing childcare my whole adult life, as a nanny, and at the time I had a well-paying nanny job. My son and daughter-in-law couldn't afford to pay me as much, but I didn't mind as they're my grandkids and I love them. I do it for free, but I have to pay my bills. I did make sure multiple times that this was going to be permanent. I was quitting a good job for this, and I didn't want to have to scramble last minute. They swore up and down that it'd be until they were 3. I agreed, and I've had so much fun watching them this past year. They're now 18 months old, and I've started to teach them colors, ABCs, etc. We go to playgroup so they can be with kids their age. My son and daughter-in-law sat me down last week, saying they feel more comfortable with the daycare. After doing research, they feel it's best they're in daycare now. They've already found one and gave me 2 weeks' notice. I was upset. They promised me 3 years of work, and now we have to scramble to find a new job they'll pay as well as my last one. I said all of this, and they said it wasn't fair for me to expect them to keep to that. I pointed out what this would do financially to me, and they said they had to think of themselves. They're paying the child care more, but it's worth it. I said now I don't know how I'll pay my bills, including my son's student loans that I pay. I left shortly after. My son says his wife cried and that I shouldn't have guilted them about this. He said bringing up the money was manipulative. Am I the a-hole? As I know of, they're only sending them to daycare for socialization. They say there's nothing wrong with my care. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. They broke their commitment, and they are a-holes for making you pay student loans. Stop paying immediately if you can. This times 100. Do not pay student loans. If they can afford daycare, they can afford to pay loans. Not the a-hole. And stop paying your son's student loans, unless they are in your name. Even then, she should heavily put the onus on him to pay. You can clearly afford your student loans by yourself like an adult now. So since you've broken our commitment to me and I have loss of pay, I'm stopping my generous contribution to your financial obligations. Not the a-hole. Did you have any kind of formal contract? I would strongly consider not paying your son's student loans either. Typically, I would have a contract, but they were family, so I thought we'd forgo it. I didn't think they'd screw me over. The loans are in his name, but we had an agreement that I'd pay the loan and he'd pay interest. Is that agreement in writing? Lol. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. It's not. I'll probably stop paying. Next story. Am I the a-hole for getting a teacher fired when she wouldn't let my daughter eat in class? My 47 female daughter, 13 female, is type 1 diabetic and sometimes hypoglycemic. Due to this, we set up a 504 that says she can eat a snack in class whenever needed, along with other accommodations. Anyways, at one point, one of her teachers, who is apparently a new teacher, denies her a snack while hypoglycemic. She nearly passes out, but then the next class she's in, the teacher has enough common sense to let her eat a snack before passing out at school. When she told me, I immediately called the teacher. When she called back, I lectured her and told her that she needed to let my daughter eat a snack when needed. She says snacks aren't allowed in class, but I tell her that due to my daughter's 504, she's legally required to give my daughter an exception to that rule, and recommended she give it another read. Before hanging up, I tell her that if she does this again, I will contact the principal and let him know. I recorded this call in my husband's phone, by the way. A month goes by and the same thing happens again. I request a meeting with the principal and my husband plays back the call between me and the teacher. I tell him she has done this twice and needs to have a talk with her. Turns out, he actually fired her for ADA violations. How do I know? I ran into her in public, and she told me that it's my fault I got her fired over some stupid snacks, and that I need to stop raising an entitled brat. Instead of arguing back, I just walked away. Was I really the a-hole? Did I actually go too far? Not the a-hole. A 504 is legally binding agreement that the school has to follow. The teacher was actually probably fired because she didn't follow the 504, and the school could get in trouble for that. ADA is the American with Disability Act, so I believe it would be an ADA violation to deny my daughter an accommodation that she needs. Not the a-hole. It's your fault that you threw your career away over some stupid snacks. I'm honestly baffled by the stupidity of this teacher. Not the a-hole. She put your daughter's life at risk. Twice. The school did her a favor, frankly, by firing her. Better be fired than let your foolish choices harm a child in your care and then have to deal with the consequences. In a way, the teacher was saved from herself. This reminds me of the idiotic high school coaches who harm children through negligence, but not recognizing heat stroke or other injuries. It is so easy to not actively fatally harm children under your care. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my mom it's her fault I live in a cave? So my 18 female mom has been charging me market rate rent since I started working at 16, and I was left with travel money and just about had food money left. I got a pay raise recently, earning pretty much double what I was previously, and she tried to up my rent even further. When I refused, she kicked me out. This was the end of July and I'm just now kind of back on my feet. Recently moved into an apartment and my rent is quite high, and because it was furnished, I have a slight bit of wiggle room to start buying the essentials. I've started with the stuff I just need. I still haven't gotten around to buying real plates or cutlery because I haven't been able to, so I've been eating off plastic. I also have one light bulb, and I just take it from room to room. So, my mom asked if she could come over and talk yesterday, and I agreed to it. She came over, and the first thing she did was complain about how bare and dark it was. It was bright when she first came, so I was using the natural light. She eventually decided to order us food, and when it came, she asked where the forks were. She got them and got really angry that they were plastic. She went off at me, saying I can't afford this place since it's like I'm living in a cave, and that I should find something cheaper. I told her if she wasn't charging me more than what I'm paying here, I would have savings that didn't all go on an emergency deposit. And maybe then I'd have light bulbs and stainless steel forks. She thinks I'm being an a-hole for back talking. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Might be important to add that the rent I'm paying now, including bills, etc., is still less than what my mother was charging me. But now I can walk to work, so travel expenses are cut out almost entirely. Not the a-hole, and let me go ahead and say something your awful mother never will. I am so proud of you. You are building your future one light bulb at a time, and not complaining one bit. You got out of a bad situation and are working to be financially stable. Those are all big accomplishments, and you were amazing for them. I suggest that you start limiting contact with your mom. It doesn't seem like she's a positive influence in your life, and I think you would be happier and free to grow more confidence if she wasn't around to put you down. She was abusive in charging you to live with your parents as a minor, and the way she treats you isn't okay. I hope you realize that and make the best choices for your mental health. Oh, also, I don't know if this will apply for you, but check with your power company. Mine sends boxes of free light bulbs for part of an energy initiative. You could also try your local food banks for a few extra staples and get some forks and spoons from the dollar store from the money you would have spent on the food. Good luck on your journey to self-sufficiency. I'd also like to add that thrift stores are a great place to buy silverware and serving sets when you get around to purchasing them. A lot of time you can find full china sets for next to nothing. Not only not the a-hole, what your mom did was illegal. You cannot charge underage people rent unless they're emancipated. Take her to small claims courts and get back the 2 years of illegal rent she took. Be careful going this route, Opie. Reddit likes to pretend that we're bastions of free will individuals in a libertarian society. Suing your mom may be more damaging than the money you could get back. A parent who charges their minor child market rate rent is automatically the a-hole. Completely agree. Especially when the rent magically starts rising the sooner you get a pay raise. Opie shouldn't share their wages with their family. Next story. Am I the a-hole for judging my daughter? I'll preface this by saying that I have 2 daughters, Amy 27 and Lily 19. Lily just had her first baby months ago. The father is out of the picture and she's only went to college 1 year, then dropped out to focus on her son. She's living with us right now and doesn't work. Amy is a college graduate, working and is engaged. She's doing well financially. She and her fiancé bought a decent apartment together. She visits every now and then, and she visited us yesterday for half an hour to tell us she was going to Ohio on a field trip with her friends and visit many places and national parks there. Lily looked sad throughout the entire visit and didn't speak till Amy left. I asked Lily what was wrong, and she said it wasn't fair that she doesn't have a job nor a degree, nor enough money to buy nice things or a new phone. And not even time to go on trips and enjoy herself. While Amy has money, recently bought a new apartment, and is going on a trip every now and then. She said it wasn't fair because she is younger than Amy and deserves to live her life too. And she asked, why? I frowned because I sensed some envy and resentment towards Amy. Even though it's not her fault, this is how Lily's life is like. I answered her question by saying that Amy didn't make any of the decision Lily did, and didn't choose all the roads Lily did. and so she shouldn't compare herself to her. Lily looked at me stunned, saying that I just basically blame her for the decisions she made and the roads she chose to walk down. I didn't respond, and she lashed out saying I was clearly judging her, which was cruel of me since she never said she regretted having her baby or dropping out of college, but I made it about that. I said I was sorry she misunderstood my point, and she called me a few names, then stormed out of the kitchen and kept ignoring me and refusing to speak to me, saying I know what I did. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Your delivery might have been a little awkward, but it was the truth. Lily's living with the consequences of her own decisions, which is adulting 101. Amy's also living with the consequences of her own decisions. If Lily doesn't like her life, then she can choose to change her situation. From the sounds of it, you are supporting Lily and her child, at least by keeping her housed. She sounds a bit entitled, spoiled, but perhaps needs mental health support to help her see her future differently. It might even be time to talk to Lily about her long-term plans. It's also not too late for Lily to turn her life around. If she wants Amy's life, she can go back to school and get that degree. Work out some sort of babysitting schedule or childcare plan. Lily should also remember that Amy has an 8-year head start on her. It's unrealistic to expect to have hit the same milestones as a 27-year-old woman at age 19. 1000% not a a-hole. She has a baby young. It's a different path. It's not going to look as shiny as someone who took a different path. Sounds like Lily just saw the consequences of her choices, but still doesn't quite get it. You said nothing wrong. You didn't blame her for her choices or victimize her. You just let her know there's a reason their lives look different. I hope she kicks the entitled attitude soon, though. Not a a-hole. She reacted how a child would react. I suppose she wanted you to tell her that nothing is her fault and reinforce her point that life isn't fair. I think you dealt with it the correct way. You explained that the decisions you make in life have an outcome. Lily looked at me stunned, saying that I just basically blame her for the decisions she made and the roads she chose to walk down. I'm stunned that she was stunned at the idea that the decisions she made and the roads she chose to walk down are her fault. And now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom's friend the reason I'm not interested in her daughter? So, I stopped by my mom's house to pick up some stuff yesterday. Her friend was over because they had just gotten back from shopping. I've known my mom's friend Carla for a while. She has a daughter my age, and Carla has hinted before about introducing us. Well, I was running some stuff back and forth to my car when I heard Carla talking to my mom about how she just wished her daughter would get her life together and meet someone nice. Then she called my name and asked if I'm seeing anyone, to which I said no. Then she was all, "You should take my daughter out sometime. I'm sure you'd hit it off. She needs to meet a nice guy like you." I was like, I'm not sure. I'm kind of busy. Then I went back in my old room. I've heard enough from both Carla and my mom about her daughter to know that she's not my type. Her daughter was in a 2-year college for 4 years and then dropped out, which is normal and not bad. Then she had a decent job and quit because it was boring. She has a substance problem and is in and out of rehab, and she bounces from one guy to the next and somehow gets them to pay her bills. A while passed and I got what I came for and was saying goodbye to my mom when Carla started badgering me. "So, when are you going to take her out?" I let her know. I said, "Like I said, I'm kind of busy right now." "Too busy to take a nice girl out on a Friday?" "Yeah, and I'm not really interested, sorry." "Well, why not? She's a nice, pretty girl. You'd be good for her." I was getting annoyed because I felt cornered and looked at my mom for help, but she didn't do anything. So I said, "Yeah, maybe, but that doesn't mean she'd be good for me." What's that supposed to mean? Well, I'm not really into girls that don't have a job and have addiction problems. She flipped out and said she can't believe I'd be so rude. She's known me since I was a kid, and that she was trying to fix me up with her daughter. I should take it as a compliment. Instead of insulting her daughter, I could have just said no. I left and my mom called me later and said it was really mean to say that to Carla when she was just trying to be nice. That I came off like a snobby a-hole. Even if I wasn't interested, I could have been nicer about it. Am I the a-hole? I could have just said no, which is exactly what you did. Not the a-hole, Opie. Came here to say this. Opie said no. She shouldn't have asked why if she didn't want to hear the answer. Even if the answer wasn't she's an addict, it was bound to be something that was not going to be complimentary. She's the a-hole for asking the question and then getting mad at him for answering honestly. Right? Like, what possible answer to that question would be deemed acceptable? I have taken a lifelong vow of celibacy? Your daughter is such a paragon of purity that I may only worship her from afar from anonymous tokens of my undying devotion. I'm a werewolf, and your daughter deserves someone who won't turn into a man-eating monster once a month. Obviously, it's a rhetorical question meant to manipulate Opie into a reluctant agreement to take her out. But people who ask blatantly manipulative rhetorical questions deserve actual answers. Her mom has stated she has substance problem and uses guys. Why would you even want that in your life? Edit. Forgot to say you did say no more than once. They pushed, and it's their fault for the response in my mind. Yeah, if Opie had said the insults right off the bat the first time Carla ever mentioned dating her daughter, it'd be an a-hole. But it's clear she's been at it a long time. And during this visit Carla kept pushing, Opie tried to be polite and brush it off as not wanting to date anyone at the moment, which is the gentlest rejection ever. Not only would she not take no for an answer, she demanded to know why Opie wasn't interested. It's not really his fault she didn't like the answer. People who are super pushy about trying to matchmake others are total a-holes to me. Even if the person they're being pushy about isn't a bad person or anything like that, it's still annoying if they won't just listen to a no.